We News is being brought to you in part by Nigel Arakan Booksellers, Flowerline and the NLCB.
Good evening. This is We News on Gael, the channel. I'm Cindy F. Daniel. Thanks for joining us. Images of TSTT worker Wayne Roberts being beaten by police officers in Port of Spain have shocked the country and brought up the issue once more of whether the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service uses excessive force. The protective services are meant to protect communities and citizens. However, in the past few years, as crime has become more of a concern, some feel that civil liberties have been sidelined in a quest to maintain order. There have been instances where the protective services have been accused of running roughshod over citizens' rights. We News today spoke with Gregory Sloan Seal of the Citizens Security Project in the Ministry of National Security about the level-headedness that should prevail throughout society.
I think on the police officer's side that they need to approach all situations as professional and as courteous as possible, okay? Because everyone's assumed innocent until proven guilty. And I think it's very important for them to be able to quell situations before they turn into, physical situations. I believe also that there is a certain level of responsibility also incumbent on the media in terms of how they portray incidences where there is alleged police brutality. A lot to do with perception, and also too for Joe and Jane public. Also, we have to recognize that current situation on the ground is one that is fairly tense in terms of how police would respond to certain situations, because you never know who is going to pull a gun, who's going to pull a knife, who's going to do what.
Now, there's no denying that there's a need to repair the citizen-protective force relationship. Sloan Seal had these suggestions to make on how that process could start.
I think there's a lot of work needs to be done in public education in terms of what are the rights and responsibilities of the citizenry. Also, what are the duties and the responsibilities of the police service and their officers. I think if public education is utilized and everyone has a fair understanding of what their perimeters of engagement are, I think it'll go a long way in assisting also in developing a better relationship.
We News would like to continue to encourage the public and protective services to remain calm and respectful in all situations and at all times. In other news, today marks the first day that newly elected local government officials stepped into their offices. With so much on their plate, We News spoke with Premchand Suku, councillor for Barrackpore West, about his plans to address the spread of dengue and flooding in his area.
Well, we have been spraying the area on a continuous basis together with the Sector Control Division and together with the Pinal Division Regional Corporation. And we have been cleaning as many watercourses and drainage as far as possible. Now, having served local government representing that area for the last 27 years, we have actually cleaned several watercourses in that area, and we continue to be spraying on a daily basis. Well, we have been advising the residents to make sure you have your place clean, containers that accumulate water and so on, to get rid of it and so on, because that is the area where water is accumulated. That is the breeding ground for mosquitoes. We try to advise them to keep a place, get rid of the tires and the pots and pans and so on, to have it removed.
We News extends a hearty congratulations to all those incoming councillors, both PNM and People's Partnership. Now, with a national focus on ecotourism and sustainable development, Guyana is adding another ambition to their list of economic goals, and that is to become a major supplier of food to the Caribbean region.
Guyana's government, headed by President Barrat Jagdeo, is on a mission to make Guyana the Caribbean's main food supplier. Its Grow More campaign has, thus far, seen great success, where investments in Guyana's agriculture sector continues to increase at a rapid pace. In the past 2 years, records show that the number of investment projects in the agri-sector has doubled. According to head of the Guyana Office for Investment, Go Invest, Geoff De Silva, in 2008 the agency worked with 67 agriculture projects. This figure jumped to 152 in 2009. He alluded to the Grow More campaign as being the propelling factor behind the expansion within the sector. The government, along with Go Invest, has been focusing on advancing agriculture in the small farm sector, which would enable the development and support for more medium-sized to larger projects. Currently, Go Invest is working with several investors who have interest in large projects for soybean, livestock, cattle, and rice. The investment in soybean and livestock comes from among some of the largest companies in the Caribbean and would see 10,000 acres of land under cultivation. Along with Caribbean-based investors, Go Invest is also working with European and Brazilian investors interested in special rice projects. Finalizing these arrangements would see thousands of acres of land in Guyana devoted to the agricultural sector. The Guyanese government hopes that this would help to fulfill the country's great ambition to be the Caribbean's main food supplier. This has been Conrad Paris for WE News.
Speaking of agriculture, if you're a farmer or simply a family trying to be more self-sufficient in terms of the food that you eat, John Stallmeyer, a local permaculture specialist, is hosting a seminar this Saturday on the sustainable form of food production. WE News spoke with him today about the small-scale steps that Trinidad and Tobago can make to take control of what we put into our bodies.
It is about knowing where your food comes from and therefore what's in it. More and more people are realizing that the pesticides that industrial agriculture is using is not only poisoning the soil, poisoning the oceans, and it's also poisoning us. Slowly but surely, we have many diseases now that are rampant in the culture that probably are directly related to the amount of these POPs, the persistent organophosphates, that are neurologically damaging to our system. And so organic gardening is a way of taking charge of your food and learning about the dynamics of your ecosystem. From a permaculture perspective, we go organic because we want to imitate nature. Nature produces its own fertility. There's nothing wasted in nature. And so we want to imitate those processes in nature. How there's many different plants and animals, water systems in place that we create biodiversity. The greater our biodiversity, the more resilient our system is. And the more we're able to, if one crop fails, we always have many other crops coming.
So if you're interested in learning more about organic gardening and permaculture in Trinidad and Tobago, you can follow John Stallmeyer on Facebook and become a part of his class. We'll give you more information about it a little bit later on. So we're taking a break now, and when we come back, what would Jesus think of the polluted River Jordan? Stay with us.